I have to say it, and unfortunately, it's an unpopular opinion. I do not like Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. It was a movie that felt like it was missing a, a prequel. Now, some people don't know what that means, but sometimes you get a movie that you just watch and you're like, whoa, hold on. I need some shit explained to me. Now, I know like some people like use your imagination and fill in the gaps, but you know, sometimes that's a good thing to do. And sometimes if your movie's in a series, you're just like, I think I missed a movie here. And that's what it feels like when you watch Star Wars The Rise of the Skywalker. You're just like, I missed something. I missed Star Wars 8.5. Now, you know, that's okay. Some people was like, well, I like my sequels in two different ways. Either one that follows the story from the last movie, or one that is a self-contained story. One or the two. Rise of Skywalker doesn't do that. It seems like it puts you in to a thing that doesn't make any sense. Emperor Palpatine's back. You know, you find out that instead of Rey's parents being nobodies, they were Palpatines. Palpatines, Constantines, whatever. They were, you know, her dad was the Emperor's son. It like rewrites crap from it recons pretty much the entire second movie. You know, which I guess if you have to recon the second movie, you know, you should do that like that. Like you don't want that movie in canon, it's okay. But like all the little plot points from the second movie that you know you thought would be expanded on the third, nothing happens to them, and that's what you get when you get directors that don't like each other, that hate each other, to do a movie. You know, J.J. Abrams didn't direct the last one, Episode 8, and because of that, he pretends Episode 8 didn't happen, and because he pretends Episode 8 didn't happen, the story is just you're just like, what the fuck happened here? And I know people's like, well, you know, what's his face rolled him up in a corner and da 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 da. Well, the truth is that I think Episode 8 was an okay film. It was okay. It wasn't the best film. But it wasn't the worst. I think it went into a better direction than whatever heck J.J. Abrams was going into. So, as far as the story goes, as I said, it just seems like you're missing something. Also, characterizations just aren't there. There are people that are in the story that just don't have to be. That movie could have been perfectly fine if we took Poe Dameron and Finn completely out. If you took them completely out of the story, you know what I'm saying? Just take them and just had Chewbacca there and 3CPO as you know the main cast area. It would have still worked. You know, people's like, well, Poe Dameron was a spice runner, and I was like, you're developing all these plot points for Poe Dameron in the last movie where no one cares about him anymore. These are points that should have been brought up in the first movie. It should have been, hey, I used to be a spice runner. I know how to do all this shady shit. That should have been his characterization from day one. You know, so bringing it up now just seems like J.J. Abrams just wanted to throw that in there somehow, and he did, but it doesn't make a good story. And I know people are like, well, how would Chewie have gotten 3CPO redid? That's a whole entire plot contrivance. That was done. You didn't need any of that in there. There is no reason why 3CPO couldn't translate anything or forbidden languages. What the hell? Oh yeah, I can understand this language perfectly fine, but I can't translate it or tell you anything about it. You know, in real life, that shit wouldn't actually happen. I know Star Wars follows its own rules, but like C3PO is a robot. You don't want him to translate a language. You just don't have the language in this databanks easily. You don't need to make a whole entire contrivance about forbidden languages and Sith is a all that. Palpatine just seems rushed into the story. I know Snoke was killed in the last one. A lot of people didn't like that, but like to make Snoke just a puppet of Palpatine was just wrong, and it just kills everything that was built into the first two movies. Snoke should have been his own thing. He shouldn't have been a you know Palpatine's literal puppet. I don't mean like Snoke was like being puppeted around. I mean Palpatine by Palpatine. I mean like Snoke was possessed by Palpatine, and Palpatine is being kept alive in this pitiful like life support network on a with by a Sith cult. It's not really. It's pretty glossed over in the film. It's not really stated, but it's just a mess of a film. As far as continuity goes, it's just a mess, and it makes Force Ghosts look, horrible. Because it seems like anyone could be a Force Ghost in this film. They try to play it off like it was like Han Solo wasn't a Force Ghost, but it seems like he was a Force Ghost in this film because there's this scene, spoiler alert, where they're on the second on either the second or first Death Star, and I think it's the second Death Star. They're fighting on top of it during a hurricane or something like that on Yavin, which is a gas giant. Not Yavin 4, not the Force, not Yavin. I mean, Endor. They're on Endor. They're on Yavin. I don't know. They're either on Yavin or Endor. But anyways, what I'm getting at is that, canonically speaking, the Death Star shouldn't be. No part of that should be on those planets. Both of them were, I think, moons. Yavin was a moon, and Endor was a moon, and they were orbiting gas giants. So you get to see Bespin near the end of the thing, which is cool. They did the celebration thing that you got to see in episode 6 again. I just think it's rehashing. It was super predictable. It was a super predictable film that I honestly, I don't know. I don't like my films being predictable, and this was a very predictable Star Wars film. Let's just put it this way. J.J. Abrams tried to salvage a story because he had his own plans for episode, 7, 8, and 9. And then the director after him wrecked those plans. Instead of, trying to build around what's already there, he tried to do his own thing, and it just didn't work. I really didn't like how that story ended, and I really don't like how they killed off. Spoiler: they kill off Kylo Ren because they explain it like that he gave like all his life force to Rey or something. Anyways, it's just no. It's called Return of the Skywalker. Rey should have died, and Kylo Ren should have walked out a reformed person. That's how that movie should have ended. And I'm going to say this just like this. I love Star Wars. I really do. All the films had their own issues. I can't go back and fix canon on any of these issues. But this really felt like a director that had his own story, had the story wrecked, and just pretends that it's almost like if you're watching it, that J.J. Abrams pretended instead of the episode 8 that actually happened, that his episode 8 happened. Like, there's no mention of anything that would have happened in his episode 8. And it just seems like he just disregarded it fully. So, I hate to say this, but I didn't like that Star Wars film. Sorry.